Hi, it's Lynn from LynnieCDesigns. Thank you for joining me today. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in West Sussex in the UK. I know I've been making Christmas cards a lot recently, and this was one of the projects I've started in my card classes, designing cards, and this is one of the projects that we made. It's a fancy fold. The first time I made this type of card was it was designed by another lovely Stampin' Up demonstrator, Michaela Tithridge, and so this is my take on sort of a pop-out flip card. Anyway, so I used the beautiful stamps from the beautiful Cottage Wreaths stamp set. There's a coordinating dies, the country wreaths, and I just used one of them here to cut out the beautiful bow. And I decided, rather than to put some designer series paper or anything, that I would actually emboss the front of the card base. This is Old Olive cardstock, and I've paired it with some very vanilla, and I used the Brick and Mortar 3D embossing folder. And to cut the circle, I used the largest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. So I'll pop that all on the way. Tiny little bit of stamping. And the other product that I used is the Pearlized Enamel Effects Basics, and I used the Real Red to make the holly berries, and I thought that was rather sweet. So let me just show you how I created this, and I'm literally just going to create it again. So we've got a very vanilla envelope. I cut the bow actually out of cherry cobbler, a little bit of cherry cobbler. I think that's oh yeah, it is cherry cobbler. I've done the circle already. I've die cut that. So that's the base, and then this is the insert. The base is standard, so this is 21 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters, and it's scored at 10.5 to make a standard card base. I think I might need a new blade on my trimmer. And then this piece for the insert, it measures 14 centimeters by 16.5 centimeters, and I scored it 5, 10 and 15 centimeters, but it's going to go into the card that way, but that was the easiest way. Sorry, so it could be 1.5, 6.5 and 11.5 centimeters, but it was just, 5, 10 and 15 was easier. So anyway, that's going to be my insert, and we do a valley, mountain, and this will also be a mountain, but we'll come back to that. There's just a tiny little bit of stamping I'm going to do on the inside, and I'm going to stamp this as well, but I'll do the front of it first so that you can see what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to use that circle to die cut from the front, and you just want to you can measure it, eyeball it, but I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to use the embossing folder. Just put it in. Remember to put it in. You need to do it that way, and I'm just going to emboss up to that score line. So I'll go off and come back. So here we go. We have embossed that front part after but we die cut this first. Now originally I was going to say to my girls, well, you can use this, keep this and use it for something else, but I ended up putting it on my card, and I'll show you why. But now we've done that, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. I'm just going to bring in a bit of grid paper so that I don't mess up my lovely bit. I'm also going to stamp the envelope as well. So I've got this set up on my block, and it doesn't matter because we're not going to die cut this, it doesn't matter. But what I did, actually, I show you, we've got dies in here that cut the leaves out. In fact, there's two, they cut the leaves and they also cut this sprig wreath, and on the dies they have a little arrow, and in here there's a little arrow. So before I took the stamps off, you can just about see it, I used a Sharpie to mark on there and on here, so that I know I can line them up, and it just makes it easier when you are die cutting them, although I'm not going to do it at the moment. Does that make sense? I'm not sure. Hopefully it does. So I decided to stamp in Pear Pizzazz and Evening Evergreen. So I'm just going to ink up my stamp, and this is a distinctive stamp. So it's rather lovely, and it gives you shading. You will see I'm trying to get that in the middle without getting my head in the middle. And it's just a lot, I might actually need re-inking, but it's a lovely, it gives you gradients. So that's the wreath. I've got the sentiment, and I'm going to put the sentiment just slightly lower, and you'll see why. That's soft suede, and I've got a soft suede marker pen that I'm just going to draw a straight line, so that's as if the wreath is hanging, and so our little bow is going to go there. Perfect. So I've got now, oh, I'm going to keep that out, I'm not going to put that away yet. So Evening Evergreen, and I've got the tiny little holly leaves, and I've got Cherry Cobbler. This is a brand new ink pad, so it's maybe very juicy, and I'm just going to keeping that bow in place just so that I know where I'm stamping. It's supposed to be random, and don't forget I'm going to go over these with the enamel effects, but I'm going to do that last because it takes a little while to dry. So we're going to just seal that up now because we don't need that anymore. Oh, we might put it on the envelope. Hold on. Wait one. So now we're coming in with our holly leaves. I'm going to just now, very tiny. So I'm just going to try and make sure that I don't rock it, because you can see I've got ink around the edge. So I'm going to quickly clean that off just in case. And you really only have to tap, tap, tap very lightly. So let's just see. Let's get that out of the way for a minute. Very fiddly with these little stamps, but it's quite a nice way to do some simple stamping. And build up some detail in that. So that's lovely, I like that. So we've got my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to quickly add some sparkle and shine to that ribbon, and I'm not sure if that shows up very well, but I do love, it's quite juicy, so you have to be careful not to squeeze too hard, otherwise it floods and you get too much sparkle. But we'll let that dry a little bit. I'm going to come in with the leaf stamp, and I'm just going to do some stamping on this middle panel of the 3. So I'm going to stamp and then stamp off, second generation. And you could put a sentiment in here. I'm just going to leave it so that there's plenty of space to write if you want to write something. Those are done. That's my stamping done. Oh no, we might bring that back. So let's do the envelope. I do like doing an envelope. Now, on my original one, I just did that, lifted the flap and stamped. But actually, one of my friends did the holly over the top, and I thought that was rather lovely. And then I'm going to come in and do that on there. So it just ties it in a little bit, and I'm going to add a few berries. Fabulous. Let's get some of that evening evergreen. Managed to do that quite well. And it does look really nice. Originally, originally I just did 2 sprigs of holly, but actually it's much nicer with 3. Now what are we going to do there? Ah dear. I have to think of something to put over the top of that. I wonder if we can put another bow. What a nuisance. Never mind. Here we go. Shows how easy they are. So fiddly, these little tiny little stamps. Shows how easy it is to drop them. That's going to annoy me. Never mind. Let it go, Lynn. Let it go. Let's just shut that up. Pop them out the way. We will come back. No, I'm going to clean those now. If anybody has any bright ideas for how to cover that up, do let me know, because it's going to bug me. So open, you can just get assembling now. So the way I did it, so this, you've got the thin bit down across the circle that you've cut, and this second score line goes on the center score line of the card base. And I've no idea if this is right. This is just the easiest way that I found to do it. Put glue on this layer here. Hold it down. And that's when you can check that you've got it in the card sort of straight. Lovely. Fold that, but keep that straight. And I'm going to use part of this to stick to the inside. I'm going to close that flap down. I'm just taking a pencil. I'm going to mark where that circle is, and I know that's where the gap is, so I'm going to cut from that point. I'm going to cut just a little bit in. I'm going to draw a little line there, and we want to cut that, trim that little bit out, and that little bit out. So we'll get our paper snips if we can find them. I had another class on Thursday lunchtime. A bit of car trouble, so I was late turning up and a bit flustered. There we are. Snip that down nice and easily. And I'm just snipping to the score line. Trim that bit out. So now we add, where's my, oh there we go, we add glue to this bit here and this bit here, and we fit that, because it's cut with the same die, we fit that in the hole and hold that down. Make sure that's stuck properly. Give that a little touch. And now I covered over that with the green piece. You don't have to, but actually I quite liked that I was covering up the messy bit. Make sure it is sort of lined up nicely. You don't want to see it from the front. And there we go. And so we close that down and put glue, and again I'm just using my wet glue, but you could use tear and tape. It's a bit too much on that one there. Flap that down and just hold it in place for a minute. Hold it in place, and then you can actually open it up, and if you want to use your bone folder at this point to make sure that's stuck down. Perfect. And that just moves quite easily once you've got it going. And then I simply added the bow with a glue dot. So pop in the glue dot there. It's a little bit bigger, so you can just fold it up so that it's hidden, and then pop that on there. And I think that's quite nice. It just doesn't want to interfere. Can come down just a little bit. There we go. Doesn't want to interfere with the top of that card there. Lovely. And now that's all in, and you see when you open it up, it's nice. It's nice and tidy. And then we're going to use, this is the last bit. I'm going to start with the bigger one, and you just squeeze. And I'm not doing them too much pressure. You just want to dab and pull up, because they will spread out on their own. So you just need to be gentle with it, really. But these are great to create your own embellishments and your own sort of little dots there. And you just have to set that aside to dry. So you can see there's the other one, and there we have it. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to have to put that to one side and make sure that I don't rest anything on it. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm not sure whether I'll be here next week, but because I'm off on my adventure, but I will see you very soon. And I thought I would share, you can do this style of card, and this is what Michaela showed. It was earlier in the year, I think, or was it maybe it was last year, I'm not sure. Same kind of thing, but with some designer series paper on the front, just to add. This was some retired designer series paper, so that's quite sweet. And then I tried different sizes, but the inside on that bit was a bit too small for me. And then I tried to make it bigger. So this was my first version. I wasn't sure about the crumb cake. And then when you opened it up, I obviously did this bit far too big. It doesn't really work. You couldn't write anything on there, not easily anyway. I'm going to shut up now because my neighbour is mowing his lawn, and so it's time for me to go. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're not already a subscriber, then please hit that button and the little bell so that you get notified when I do upload a video again. So take care for now. See you soon. Bye bye.